big question is, are we really live first time this time, Paul?
I think so.
Right. Well, it seems it's just me and you to start with. Hopefully Mark will come and join us in a minute. It's another Gunners Town pub podcast, which is going live, hopefully. And Paul's sitting there with his massive fish bowl worth of gin. And yeah, I deserved a beer after the mental gymnastics I've been doing today.
Yeah, what have you been doing?
Working out VAT on stuff, mate. It weren't pretty. Just like myself.
Rather you than me, Gav.
Anyway, right. Well, we won on penalties. We won 5-4 on penalties. 4-4 after the 5, and then Leno, clear man of the match for myself. I'm presuming you agree, Paul, and I'm presuming Sky agreed as well.
Absolutely.
We're going to spend a little time to go through what there was of the game, which weren't exactly a classic. Let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, I've tried to write notes like I did before for the game, and we'll go through it. On the 7th minute, Eddie to the shot after a great ball from Kolasinac to Pepe onto him, but it just kind of literally sort of bounced up and hit his leg. He couldn't get sort of straight, and then he was in sort of two minds, and he's decided to take it wide. But I think if the ball was flat on the floor, he should have whacked that first time, shouldn't he, Paul?
Absolutely, I think so. People give Lacazette a hard time for the misses against Liverpool, and on my Twitter timeline, I got a lot of people saying, "Oh, Eddie would have put that away. Eddie would have put that away." And when it comes down to the game and the pressure, and that you've got like a split second to think, do I have time for another touch, or should I shoot immediately? And by the time you have that thought, it's too late. So, I think we need to just take a deep breath, when we kind of come out with these, statements that this such and such a person would have netted that.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, for us of a certain era and generation, we're used to Ian Wright getting half a sniff and it's in the back of the net, and Ian Wright, getting half a sniff and it's back of the net, and Thierry Henry just producing complete magic. So it's kind of like that for me. It's a bit unfair to judge these on their standards, but we perhaps should. I don't know.
Yeah, I think hopefully we'll get there at some stage, but we're in a kind of a building phase, and we've got Mark about to enter, so I'm just going to add him to the stream. I think he's finally figured out how to work it out. So let's welcome Mark.
Yay! Hello, mate. How you doing?
Your mic. We're having mic issues. I can't hear you.
Mark, you've got us on mute, mate. Nod your head if you can hear us.
Will you see if there's a microphone picture on your picture down at the bottom that's maybe muted and maybe unmuted?
Here he goes. Hold on. I do apologise, everybody. We're still kind of testing this and seeing what we're doing with it all. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But hopefully,
we've got some Facebook comments to talk through while Mark figures it out.
He's so pretty, yeah. He's so pretty to look at. Anyway, we don't need to hear his dulcet tones, do we? No, still can't hear him. Anyway, right. Well, carry on. And Mark, please shout at me. And when you get your mic working. On the 14th minute, there was two kind of odd fouls by Liverpool. I mean, you wanted to talk, Paul, about the one on Ceballos.
Yeah, I thought Minamino kind of went in, studs up and out of control. What would be normally called a reckless tackle. I've seen more than yellow given for those. Maybe it was an orange, and once again, because it's early in the match, they downgraded it to yellow. But I think that he was lucky to get away with that.
And then we went up the other end, and then there was a foul up the other end as well, which ended up with a yellow for Minamino.
That was the one I was talking about, the Minamino yellow.
Oh, okay. There was a foul before that on Ceballos in our half.
No, I'm not sure that I saw that. Gav, I think with Mark, maybe Mark, you might need to sign on again and just check your cam and your microphone.
Can you not hear me now?
Oh, yeah, he's with us. Mark's
I sorted it.
Sorry about that.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, Gav. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. No problems, matey. Right. I mean, like I said, there's not a real we're going to talk through the game. I mean, obviously we're all happy we've won, but there's not really a great deal. I mean, on the 16th minute, we put the ball in the net. The lino flagged it for blocking beforehand. On the 44th minute, there's a great save by Leno. I thought it was a good save, but he did again parry it out, and Liverpool had a shot on the rebound. Mark, would you? In my WhatsApp group, we've had a big debate over this, whether or not Leno should have done better with the save. Could he have caught it? Could he have flipped it over the bar? Could he have pushed it a bit wider?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's part of it. What you've seen on Twitter is, ever since we let Martinez go, I think people are going to be spotlighting Leno quite a bit. And I mean, to be honest, on Sunday, I thought he was weak with their first goal, wasn't it? Where he kind of didn't push it out very far at all. And I thought tonight's one as well. I mean, he's probably our man of the match tonight. But yeah, I thought for that chance that they had, he had plenty of time to get to the ball. That's why they're saying in the studio it's like a Hollywood save and that. But even then, he didn't really get much on it. And he's really got to try and get it either wide or he's got to get it further out. It really did just go back to Minamino. And thankfully, it was just came at him a bit too quick.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I say, I think that debate will run on that one. I mean, I'm quite happy that we've got a keeper that will save ones like that, because we've had keepers in the past that ain't even getting a hand on them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the thing is, Gav, I don't think anyone can deny how good Leno is as a shot stopper. He's brilliant at that. We've seen it, all last season up until he got injured. That if he at shot stopping, he hasn't got a problem at all. It's that he didn't command his box as well as Martinez came in and did. Now, I said all along, I said, look, yeah, Martinez has done well, but he's done it without any fans there, and that makes a big difference for a keeper. But there's no one denying his shot stopping. I think it's just going to be his control of the box and also, his distribution if we're going to carry on playing this the short game to get out from the press and that. So it's going to take time. But, yeah, unfortunately, I can see a season-long debate about Martinez and Leno still going on.
Yeah, no, same here. And obviously, Paul, I'm presuming you feel the same about that. It's just going to be an ongoing. I mean, as much as Martinez done a great job for us, it was only 14 games, and it just seems like people are looking for an excuse to beat Arsenal with. Do you know what I mean? It's like even our own fans are just finding an excuse to sort of batter Arteta's decisions, which I'm not particularly in favour of at the moment, to be fair.
Yeah, I think people get to get their panties in a twist over somebody having an opinion. It's okay to prefer one goalkeeper to another. It's okay for a goalkeeper to make mistakes and be judged. It's okay for another goalkeeper to have a great game and suddenly be the hero of the moment. That's kind of what football's about. I think if everybody just agreed all the time on everything, and it'd be a pretty boring place. And so I think to some extent, you know, to get judgmental over fans who, you know, who have opinions and you know, maybe get a bit heavy-handed with them, it's par for the course. You know, I just if the toxicity carries on afterwards, and you know, once the bird has flown the coop, so to speak, and you continue kind of dragging that dead horse. How many animals can I bring into this conversation? Drag the dead horse into the coop, and you know, like, you know, there's a point at which you just got to, you know, just do with what you've got and support it. You know,
and just
that's the best.
Let it go, let it go, let it go. Yeah. Anyway, right, we'll go on to the second half, and again, very limited notes. 52 minutes, great load save by Leno after a corner. 54 minutes, great run by Pepe, followed by a really shit shot by Pepe. 59 minutes, another nice save by Leno. 62 minutes, decent save by Leno. 62 minutes, Leno again. I mean, Paul. I mean, we'll go back to Pepe today. I thought he stunk the place out tonight.
At least he's consistent. Yeah, I don't think he had a. You know, I don't know. I'm waiting for Pepe to kind of to hit his mark, and you know, kind of show us all why he cost as much as he did. But you know, I've given up holding my breath for it. I'm just gonna wish him the best and kind of not expect too much. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, we should be seeing like glimmers of the second season bounce now, shouldn't we, from Pepe? But it seems like he's almost going backwards.
I mean, we should. I mean, look, he hasn't played that often so far. Tonight he's playing on the other side to where he's normally at. You know, he didn't have a bad first season when you consider everything that went on in his first season in a new league, new country, etc. You know, I always end up sounding like I'm trying to make excuses for the guy. I just want him to do really well. One of the reasons is that, you know, at the moment we would struggle to get anything near the money we paid for him back if we needed to try and, you know, cash in on him. You know, I've seen people talking about Palace doing a swap of Pepe for Zaha and that, and you can see already on you know, on social media, people are beginning to run out of patience. A lot of people already have run out completely. You know, screenshots of Gervinho's head photoshopped onto Pepe's shirt and that. Yeah. So he's going to be a guy that's going to come under the microscope a lot. He didn't have a great game. There's no denying that. He's up against a very young fullback. You'd be expecting more from him than that. He did put in the probably one of the only decent balls of the night, right onto Rob Holding's head, and it was such a shit header that we didn't capitalise on it. So, you know, I mean, he did produce one bit of quality, and obviously he was involved in the move for Eddie's chance early doors. So yeah, I can understand people are going to say, you know, he's not performing, he's not had a good game, and I get that. I just think we're going to have more patience with the guy, to be honest, and play him in the first team out on the wide right. But obviously with Willian's arrival, that's muddied the waters there for him a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, as you were speaking, they've done the draw for the last round. We're at home against Man City. So, like I say, Leicester, Liverpool, Man City. It's not the easiest of runs, this, if we're gonna progress on this one.
Who did the Vermin get?
Stoke.
Fucking hell. Okay.
They got Stoke.
Right. Well, at least they can all go and say hello to their family members.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they can all give each other a high six, can't they?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Anyway, right. I mean, like I say, I mean, Paul, as Mike alluded to, Pepe did put the ball in on the 69th minute. probably our best chance of the game fell to Holding, really. Defender, and he's almost hit it too right, and he's headed it too square. It needed to be a little bit lower, a little bit left or right, and that was in the back of the net, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it was a good reflex save. I think it came at quite a pace, and I think Holding did well to put that kind of power on it, and it was nice to see Pepe, putting the balls back in, to that kind of 6-yard box area instead of trying to go for the near post, which he did twice on the weekend and or on Monday, whenever it was. And that's always disappointing when when you can't get past the first man. And so, yeah, it's good. I think he's a good corner kick taker. I think we just got to figure out our set pieces and make them more effective.
Yeah, no, fair one. I want to say hello to my mate Tyler from America, who's joined us in the chat, and John and Vass and Gareth and Mitch and Mike and Andrew, all having a little chat, and Barry and Martin. Forgive me if I've missed anybody else in there. Glad you're listening to us talking bollocks live on Facebook. From there, I've got the 75th minute mark. It was quite a fast ball that came in, and Eddie sort of done a diving header that just went wide. Probably not a lot else he could have done with that, really. I mean, if he'd got there a bit sooner, he would have been offside, wouldn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a decent enough ball in, and Eddie's tried to get something on it to glance it into the far corner. Went a bit wide. Don't think Eddie's done much tonight. I wouldn't say he'd had a great lot of service. I mean, obviously should have done better with the chance at the start, but after that, don't know. I'm not sure it works with Eddie starting so much. Eddie's more of a come on 10 minutes and run against tired defenders that Lacazette's worn out for sort of 70 minutes. So, not really his best game tonight. But that could be said for a lot of them, to be fair.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of average performances, not just by Arsenal players, but by Liverpool players as well. Do you know what I mean? And people say, Liverpool only really had 3 starters at the original 11. But if you add up how much they've paid for them players, they had a lot, like us, they had a lot of money on that pitch. Do you know what I mean? But, I mean, Paul, you're pretty much a Lacazette fan. As we keep alluding to. He's going to be Lacazette and Eddie. They're going to dovetail like that all year, aren't they? All season long, they're going to dovetail like 60-30 and 80-10 minutes. It's going to be like that all season long, isn't it, really?
Probably. I don't see them switching unless something major happens and we rebuild a team around like a Party or whoever it is. If there are going to be new signings, then maybe we'll see some change. But I think mostly Lacazette and Eddie are going to do that job for Arteta, which is like Mark said, it's almost like bullfighting. One of them is just going to tire the ball out, and then the other one will hopefully be able to benefit, from some.
You are on your animals tonight, aren't you? Everything's been animals.
Yeah.
So you're watching some kind of zoo program today or something, Paul.
Yeah, I have a nephew who's 2 years old, and it's Wheels of the Bus and Baby Shark and all sorts of things.
Okay, we'll go to the 83rd minute. Pepe shoots wide, and then probably the only real sort of consensus issue of the game for me. I'll start with you, Paul, on this one. On the 91st minute, a bit of a sort of scrambledy sort of going for the ball in the box. The Liverpool player goes down. It looks like it hits his forearm on the way down, and then hits his hand when he's on the floor as well. Now, no VAR tonight because there's different rules for different competitions, which I think is complete bollocks anyway, right? But I mean, for you, was that a penalty or?
Absolutely, and if the ref didn't see it because it was masked, then definitely the linesman on that side, there's no way he could have missed it because James Milner kind of gorillaed his way into that box. He kind of almost half rugby tackled, I think it was Willock. And then it hit all 4 of his arms, like at least 4 or 5 times, and he went over it. And I mean, it was a mess. It was a mess of hands and handball in the box. And in the 90 whatever minute it was, it felt like kind of justice for us to get one over them, in proper time and not have to go to penalties, which is, as we know, a bit of a crapshoot. I think that should have been a penalty. Yeah.
Mark, you're. I mean, like I say, I mean, let's be honest. I don't think that was. I wouldn't call that handball, because he's not deliberately tried to handball the ball. But with the rules as how they are that season, because the ball's hit his arm potentially twice, that is handball, isn't it? And it is a penalty.
I mean, like, I'm not being funny. I didn't think it was a penalty. You know, I mean, if I was a defender and a ref give a penalty for that, I'd be like, seriously, I'm falling over. Where do you think what do you think I'm trying to do with the ball? Why do you think I'm trying to touch it? I'm trying to stop myself from face planting the pitch. I don't think that was a penalty. I mean, if anyone gets the chance to see it, Spurs had, I'm pretty sure they went through tonight, but they had a penalty given against them tonight. And again, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what's going on with these new rules. And I just didn't think it was a penalty. So, you know, it's like,
no,
and the thing is, I think a lot of Arsenal fans need to think about is if that was an Arsenal player and the ref give that a penalty, would you be happy? And I think a lot of our fans wouldn't be happy. They'd probably expect it to be given a penalty because obviously we get a lot of shit decisions, but I didn't think it was a penalty.
You know, it wasn't even so much the handball for me, Mark. It was kind of him coming from behind. He kind of tried to reach around with his foot and he kind of touched the ball, but he didn't have it under control. Willock was still moving forward, and then he kind of lurched himself in front of Willock, and you know that's when all the handball happened. First with his elbow, then he rolled over it, then it hit his arm, and then Willock kind of gingerly picked it out past him. But you know, it was the whole mess for me. Was just, you know, when you talk about penalties being given for somebody like leaning in and touching a knee or nudging somebody, that just felt like a full-on, you know, I don't know. I felt the whole thing, not just the hand. I felt the whole thing was kind of ugly and deserved.
Yeah, no, fair one. It's like I say, it's a weird one because I agree with Mark that it wasn't what I would call a handball and a penalty, but with the laws as they are at the moment and with VAR, that probably would have been given as a penalty, which is wrong. But that's the rules of the game. It's a bit messed up with all the handball stuff at the moment, and it should just be changed back to if you deliberately if your hand's in an awkward position or you deliberately handball the ball, then it's a penalty. If the ball's kicked at you from 1 yard or you fall over and the ball hits your hand as you're falling over, that's not handball. So they should almost go back to whether it's a deliberate handball or it's not deliberate handball, and that's what decides whether it's a fucking penalty or not. I mean, that's just common. It's just fucking common sense to me, really. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know, Gav. I didn't find, you know, when the rule was, you know, that it had to be deliberate, in other words, hand to ball instead of ball to hand. It was still so open to interpretation that every single time you watched the game, it was like suddenly yours was never, you know, hand to ball. It was always the other one. And like those decisions were just as equally frustrating and random for me. It just seemed like, you know, it was never deliberate when somebody else did it, but it was always deliberate when we did it. You know, so for me, if it's always just the hand, then, you know, maybe they should put magnets on their wrists or something that stick them to their legs. They jump up and down like, you know, like kind of.
Yeah. Anyway, right, the ref blew up. We went to penalties. Over the 90 minutes, I thought Leno was probably the standout player on the pitch from both sides. So, I mean, even before the penalty started, I thought he was man of the match. I was going in there quite confident, really, in the penalties.
He didn't really have a lot of competition, did he, Gav? To be fair, it wasn't a top quality game. To be fair,
no. I mean, we could, like I say, I don't really want to. We had nothing whatsoever down the right hand side, which confused me to why. Arteta didn't switch Pepe over to the right, because we was having a decent amount of joy down the left, but we were so unbalanced as a side tonight that I thought he might have, at least swapped them over for 10 minutes at some point during the game, just to give us a little bit of something on that side of the pitch, because we had nothing. Which, again, to all those Bellerin haters out there, we missed Bellerin tonight.
Yeah, I think Cedric started off a little rusty. I mean, I think he had some moments. I think to try and be positive, I think that our playing out from the back is just, I'm amazed compared to this time a year ago how heart and mouth, it was terrifying watching us play out from the back. And you look even further back with Petr Cech, it was terrible. Tonight we invited a lot of pressure and managed to get through it mostly. I mean, there were a few, that ended up, we ended up losing the ball. But in general, I felt like Leno, Gabriel was great. Cedric wasn't good. Xhaka, was dropping back and helping create those outlets. And I think from that point of view, it was good to see us getting better and better at that. So from a training point of view, I think it was a positive experience, to get out of this.
Come on, Mark. Come on, give me some more positives about the 90 minutes, if you can.
I'll tell you one positive I'll take out of that game, and was Gabriel. I thought Gabriel looked really, really good. This is the third time we've seen him play, and he just seems calm. He seems physically in control of his game. He looks like he knows what he's doing all the time. He lays the ball off. He moves away to receive it back. I think the guy looks really, really good, and I think he has to be starting. I mean, I can understand why Arteta didn't play him last week. Maybe he thought it was too soon in a big match like that to put him in. Not to knock his confidence if it didn't go well. But, he comes in again tonight and he's played really well. Yes, he's not up against, Sadio Mane and Firmino and that. But, Salah's there over that side. And so, I thought Gabriel played really well. He was a positive for me. Other than that, I think it was a pretty sort of just solid, unspectacular performance from both teams. There was no real sparks of creativity from either side. They ground out a few chances that Leno kept us in the game with. But other than that, Gabriel, I couldn't really see much else to get too excited about. Good run out for the fringe players.
Yeah, I think you've almost got to sort of take those games as they are. Do you know what I mean? And you go back to the other year where I think it was like 4-4 or something like that. And it was just a complete different game for that. Do you know what I mean? Even though at times it did look like, okay, you attack, we attack, you attack, we attack. But I think both sides, Paul, just lacked. I mean, I said this at half time. Both sides just lacked cutting edge tonight, didn't they? Really, there was like a little bit of. I'm not sure if it's sharpness, but it was just like a cutting edge missing for both teams.
Yeah, well, except for the fact that I think Leno, saved probably three definite goals, so we could have easily been 3-0 down in that game. So, it was those situations where we have a spectacular performance from a goalkeeper and keeps us in it, and then once you get to penalties, it's anyone's.
Yeah.
So I think Liverpool were unlucky, that they came up against Leno tonight, because they should have got through.
Yeah, no, fair one. Right, well, we'll go to penalties. They scored, we scored. They scored, we scored. They scored, we scored, or whatever way it round. And then El Neni Paul stood up, and it was a bit of a shit penalty, to be fair, wasn't it? It weren't wide enough.
Yeah, it wasn't wide. It wasn't convincing at all. It was that kind of perfect height for a keeper. If it had been higher or lower, then maybe he would have squeezed one under. But it was basically almost like he aimed for the keeper as the keeper dived, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and then Mark, Leno saved the next one by Juju, or whatever his name is, which, again, it was probably a similar penalty to El Nini's. It was the perfect height, but the keeper's got to go the right way to get it, hasn't
he? Yeah. I mean, he went the right way for once, and he saved it. It was, it was a good height, and it was near enough that he could save it quite easily. It was virtually an identical penalty to the one that El Nini took. So yeah, they were two pretty poor penalties there. Those ones, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, no, fair one. And then my favourite penalty of the night, and I think
everyone's favourite penalty.
He should take our penalties. I don't care. I don't care who's on the pitch. Right. I don't care if Aubameyang's about to get a hat trick. Right. If there's a penalty and Ainsley Maitland-Niles is on the pitch, he's got to take it just for comedy value, any Mark. I mean, he's got to take it.
He's brilliant because the guy. I mean, we always said all along that throughout the last few years that he always looks so calm and that. People have said like in a way of like criticizing him a bit that he doesn't look like he's awake sometimes. If he's had like maybe a subpar game. And they say he doesn't look like he's awake. He doesn't look alert. Doesn't look like he's bothered and that. And I'm sure it's it's similar to kind of like body language of other players that people bring up. It's just how he is, But what is nice to see is that when he's in that one-on-one pressure position, he just seems so very, very calm. Doesn't seem fazed by it at all. He just makes his way up, sticks the ball down, and then he does that lovely little run, and he waits and he waits and he waits. I'm always waiting one day for when, the keeper doesn't dive and Maitland-Niles gets to the ball, and I'm thinking, well, okay, what's going to happen now? It'll just be this kind of like Mexican standoff. But no, I mean, he takes a great penalty. He's never let us down from that point of view, and long may that continue.
Oh, definitely. I think, Paul. I think from the stats I've seen, he's took 6 penalties now or something for us, and he's scored every single one of them. So he's doing something right, but I don't know. I just love watching him take penalties. I love it. It's worth the entrance fee to watch him. I mean, when we're allowed to go back, it'd be worth the entrance fee just to see him take the penalties, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I was very pleased to see Saka being substituted in the 89th minute or whenever it was, and Maitland-Niles coming on, because I had a feeling it was going to go to penalties, and there was a little part of my head went, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, hold on, sorry, I just had to get another beer out of the fridge. But yeah, no, he's not. It's just brilliant. Anyway,
I think most of our penalties were pretty good, weren't they? I mean, Pepe's looked pretty assured. Cedric's was great. So that's a good run of, like, apart from El Nani's, that's probably like 20 penalties that we've taken where we've only missed one, in the last few cup games and shootouts that we've had.
Yeah.
No, which is good for us. I mean, I'm sitting there, and I thought, like I say, as I said earlier, I thought Pepe had a stinker, and when it's bloody 4-3 and he's taking the last one out of the 5 and he's walking up to the ball, I'm thinking he's gonna fucking miss this. You know what I mean? I'm just thinking he's had a right stinker of a game, but I almost forgive him, Mark. I almost forgive him for the stinker that he had, right? Because, well, it's a decent penalty, wasn't it, to make it 4-4?
I get the feeling you don't, Gav, to be fair, but no, he did. It was he's a good dead ball keeper, apart from obviously dead ball taker, apart from obviously those 2 corners late on at Anfield Sunday or Monday, whenever it was. But he, it was a good penalty. I think he's. I'd put my faith in him in terms of taking penalties, so he wouldn't worry me. I was surprised it was Joe Willock that was going to take the first sudden death one, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I mean, Leno saved from Wilson, who was probably born in the streets surrounding Anfield for the amount of, like I say, I mean, I said to my mates at half time, if they mention that young striker from Liverpool once more, right? I think they're going to go round and give him a hand job at half time because that's what it sounded like. Do you know what I mean? They're all over the fella, they're all over the kid, and literally he done bugger all, right? But I thought Leno's save against Wilson was probably the best save out of. I mean, there was, like I say, they saved one of us, we saved two of theirs, but that was probably out of the 3 penalty saves, Paul. That was the best save, wasn't it? Because it was low down.
It
low
was
down to the left.
Low to the left, and he dived, and he had to kind of parry down with his fist, because I've seen those ones sneak underneath. Like I said, I thought El Neni's, if he'd hit it a bit harder and lower, it might have gone under Adrian, and that was what this one was threatening to do. But I think Leno was smart to it, and he saved it.
It's hard to get. Like I say, I mean, I'm none of us are the tallest fellas in the world, right? But it's hard to get down that quick and that low on a penalty. I mean, if you're taking a penalty, you either want it literally on the ground, like that fella kicked it, or literally in the top bin. So I thought by Leno saving that, I thought that was probably that was the save of the evening for me. I mean, like I say, I don't think there's much more else to say about that one, is there? And then, Mark, as you said, Woodlock's gone to take our penalty. I mean, at that point, obviously, after everybody's been nominated, it's who fancies it. It's who's got the bottle to fancy it at that stage. And Woodlock didn't have the greatest of games. Let's be honest, right? He didn't have the greatest of games. He didn't cover himself in glory tonight, but he had the bottle to go up and take the penalty.
Yeah, and I mean, you consider that there were players who have got far more experience than he has, who didn't step up to take, the first of the sudden death penalties for us. So he did show bollocks to do that. I mean, he did. I thought he had a pretty poor game, to be fair. As did a lot of them. I'm not digging him out particularly, but I'm beginning to get slightly worried about Joe Willock and his progress, because I'm not particularly seeing a great deal of it. But one of those games, he didn't have much in it, but yeah, he's got the cojones, go and take a penalty. Not the greatest of penalties, but you know what? At the end of the day, as long as the ball goes over the line, then it's a great penalty. But he just about managed to. I think it was going back to what Paul said. I think if he did, because Willock's one was a bit low and a bit harder, Adrian couldn't actually parry it away or stop it from crossing the line. So it was a decent penalty from that point of view.
Yeah, I mean, there's two types of penalties. There's the good ones that go in, and there's the bad ones that are missed. It's that fucking simple, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. Just bring up Gav, because it crossed my mind. With Pepe playing on the other side, it felt like it gave us a clue as to why he's been struggling on the when he plays off the right. It's because today he had people to kind of 1-2 with, and to make little triangles and he had a little bit more interaction. I think he had more support. He wasn't running back defending as much, and I think that it was good to see him alongside players that were actually linking up well. And from that point of view, I thought it was more productive, and maybe gave us an insight as to maybe how Pepe has struggled without somebody like Ozil to go across and help. Ozil.
Who's he?
We've got Ozil. Yeah. That's the end of the song.
What? Like I say, what kind of? I don't know why he didn't play Reece Nelson down on the right hand side. To be fair, because he's more of a natural winger. So I don't quite know why that wasn't happening. I don't know where. I thought I'd say. I think he's almost sort of looked at a few players in positions they wouldn't normally play tonight. I think he's almost treated it, Mark, as a sort of training ground, a sort of training match, really, isn't he? Because he has played a few players in positions where you wouldn't really normally see them.
He might have done. I mean, I was surprised that Nelson didn't get a start. Particularly if, as rumours say, we're looking to maybe get him out on loan. I thought he might have got a start, and particularly, when you think like, okay, if you're going to play Pepe out wide on the left, then play Nelson on the right, and then you can just keep swapping them over, as you mentioned earlier. So I was surprised he didn't get on, particularly as as I said, Willock. I don't think he had the greatest of games. I was surprised that he didn't get hooked, but maybe he was there to take that first sudden death penalty, because Arteta knew that was how it was going to all work out.
Yeah, no, it's like I say. I mean, again, like I say to Paul, it was. I just thought it was a little bit. Like I say, as I said earlier, it was very lopsided the way we were sort of lined up, and I don't think Willock is suited whatsoever to that. But again, I think we discussed this on the last one after the last game. Willock is one of those players that you think really now needs a decent loan somewhere, doesn't he?
I think. Sorry, go on, Paul.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, certainly if we do sign one or two centre midfields before Monday, you have to sort of think his chances are going to be limited there. And then, he's at that age now where he really does need some games to progress. So I would sort of like to think he might get the chance of a move away. But it all depends whether Arteta has got a clear mindset that in the Europa League group stages he's going to play, all of these players, and he's really going to rest his first team. It's still down to what Mikel's got planned.
Yeah, no, it's tricky. That Paul, it's almost like some of these players that really could do with a decent season-long loan deal might have to wait until the group stages of the Europa are out the way with, and then see what happens in the January or February transfer window, or whenever the bloody transfer window is happening this year. But like I say, Gabriel aside, there wasn't anybody that played tonight that you thought are going to push for a place in the starting 11 in a Premiership game, is there?
No, I think like Mark said, there wasn't any one player that you'd really dig out. I think they all had moments when they were better. I think Kolasinac started well and then came out in the second half and wasn't great. Xhaka had his moments, as he always does. Willock, I didn't find was as bad, because actually I didn't notice him a lot, and then I did notice that he was performing a function, and that function was to help to defend more that right hand side, our right hand side, and he put in some fairly decent tackles, and he made some good ball carries where he has this thing where he seems to be able to. He's surrounded by three players, and there's a lot of movement that happens, and then suddenly he's all on his own and he's moving forward, and he's got a propulsion and a kind of a momentum that I think is good. I think if he beefs up a bit and he gets a bit of experience, I think Willock's going to be a useful player.
I've just seen the comment on the screen from my mate Nigel Evans. Is that chap with a foul mouth the same person who sells the tat online? Thank you very much, Nigel, my sheep-loving friend from Wales. I hope you're all okay. Best wishes to the North Wales Arsenal Supporters Club. He always does that. That's his standard wind-up to me. Do you know what I mean? But he loves my stuff because he's got so much of it in his wardrobe, wouldn't you, Nigel? Anyway, is there any other comments, boys, before we wrap this up?
Yeah, it's nice to see that we got one over Liverpool. I feel like we played them 30 times this year, and when it's counted, we've kind of
done them twice.
Just to walk away with the spoils, which is great. Revenge for the last 5-5 when they beat us on penalties, and we really should have beaten them then. So I'm very happy with this one over the Bin Dippers.
Yeah, it's good for Leno as well. I think that'll do his confidence a lot good, to have put in a performance like that. So I think he strikes me that he might. I know he's a German, so he's probably uber confident anyway. But as his comments after the game, I think he said, he was never in doubt who was number one keeper at Arsenal. So no, that'd be good for him. and it's a good run out for the players, and we're through to the next round, and who knows? Man City, we'll have to see how seriously they're taking it. I mean, what are they doing? Going for 3 in a row. So they've obviously got a big enough squad that's usually good enough for them to get through League Cup games all the way to the final and win it. So it's going to be a tough game. Just have to see what happens. But look forward now to hopefully another 3 points against Sheffield United.
Yeah, Arteta's going to want to put one over Guardiola, though. Let's be honest, especially on our pitch, he's going to want to put one over on him, isn't he?
Yeah, well, we did it in the FA Cup, so we can do it again. Yeah, why not? We just have to watch whoever they lost to this last weekend. It was a Crystal Palace or something.
Yeah.
Just look at their template and copy that, maybe.
I'm not sure we've got the midfielders to do that, to do what Leicester did to them at the weekend, mate. But you never know. By Monday, we might have. We'll have to wait and see.
Anyway, on that note, we are going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining us, Mark.
No worries, Gav. Pleasure as always, mate.
And thank you for joining us and setting this up. One job, Paul.
Thank you, Gav.
And go on. Play the rap music, Paul. Let's go.
All right, on your marks.
Well, have you turned it off now?